Hey everybody, it's Ron from Ron's Basement. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to give you a quick video update with my thoughts on First Mining Gold. A couple quick things. First, since my last video, they did announce some really great drill results from their Gold Lund property. And something that I took away from that I thought was very optimistic was that they are actually working to expand their main resource. So I thought that was some good news. I just finished watching a great interview with the Crux, I think it's called the Crux Investor, C-R-U-X, where the gentleman from the Crux Investor had a almost 45-minute conversation with Dan Wilton, the CEO of First Mining Gold. And I thought it was a great interview. The gentleman conducting the interview asked some really tough questions, and I thought Dan gave some really good answers. He continued to press Dan on, what are you going to do in the short term to get the stock price up, and what are we going to do? And what came to mind when I was watching the interview was this, and I know this probably isn't the most mainstream thought, but Dan was essentially saying, hey, we are where we are in the process. We're a developer. We aren't really getting a lot of recognition. We're kind of doing a lot of the legwork and the dirty work now to get us to a point in the future when the market is going to be recognizing more of the value in these development companies. And the thought that came to mind was this, or the analogy. First Mining Gold right now is kind of like a person who is halfway through medical school, right? And if you're an investor in First Mining Gold, you're kind of like the spouse of the person who is halfway through medical school. They aren't making any money. They're doing a ton of work, and it's not the most glamorous work, but what they're doing is setting themselves up for a much brighter future. So if you're a stockholder of First Mining Gold, you can think of yourself as a spouse of someone who's halfway through medical school. The future looks bright. Another thing that Dan brought up during the interview is that conversations that they're currently having with potential strategic partners, those conversations are markedly different today than they were 1 year ago. And what I took from that is that, yes, slowly the market is starting to turn for the junior developers. One other thing that I thought was very interesting is that, he brought up the fact, and something that I've thought of and a lot of people have thought of, that, hey, these big major companies are having significantly higher cash flow right now with the gold price above $1,500 as opposed to the cash flow that they had at, let's say, $1,250. The cash flow at $1,500 is most likely double of what it was at $1,250 because cost average around $1,000 per share. But the other thing that I didn't think of when it comes to, further down the road when they look to start acquiring smaller companies like First Mining Gold or acquiring a project of First Mining Gold is that, the multiples that these major companies sell at, their stock price multiples, are significantly higher than, let's say, the multiple of a company like First Mining Gold. It seemed to me, and Dan didn't say this, but based on my rough calculations, it seemed to me it was almost 10 times higher. So as these companies start to look to acquire projects, not only are they going to have a lot more cash, okay, but, and this is something that I had not thought of, and maybe you hadn't either, they're also going to have stocks that are trading at much higher multiples. So in terms of their ability to use their equity to make acquisitions, it's going to be much more powerful and much more attractive, and they'll be able to offer much higher prices to the junior miners. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I appreciate you watching, and I hope you have a great day.